Hi there. Welcome to the first episode of our YouTube channel. I'm Dana Golden. David Marion with me is my ex-husband, and our business is the Life Recovery Coach. David and I have a very unique and compelling story, which we're going to share with you on this first episode. And our mission here on this YouTube channel is to give anybody struggling with addiction, anybody that's wondering if they're struggling with addiction, anyone that has someone in their life that knows someone, a loved one, a coworker, a friend, a neighbor that's struggling with addiction. We're here to help you navigate through what to do, how to confront, what's right, what's wrong. We are experts in the addiction and recovery space. We wrote a book together, co-authored, called Addiction Rescue, the No BS Guide to Recovery, to help addicts and loved ones of addicts understand and navigate through this, what can be treacherous disease. David and I on this first episode are going to share our story so you understand where we're coming from, how we became experts in this field. And going forward, we're going to give you tidbits every week with a chat on anything and everything you could possibly want to know about addiction and recovery. We also suggest you subscribe to our channel, comment, give us feedback, and also tell us what subject matter you'd like to hear, because it's a good chance we'll do a chat about what it is you're looking for. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to David. He's going to share his story of addiction with you, and I will talk to you in a little bit.
Hi, everybody. I'm David Marion, and like Dana said, I am her ex-spouse, and we were married for, 12, 13 years maybe. And we've been divorced probably 12 or 13 years. But we do have two daughters together, 24 and 22. And it took a while, but we obviously got the relationship back to where we collaborated on a book together. I grew up in New York. Dana grew up in Ohio. We met in Minnesota. She had been living in California, and she came back to Minnesota. And I had come to Minnesota in 1989 on a one-way ticket to go to a place called Hazleton. I was working on Wall Street as a stockbroker and sales manager, and apparently they said I was doing too much cocaine and drinking too much. My response is, you guys aren't doing enough. Well, I started using at a very early age. I started gambling at probably 9, 10 years old, and from there I started using substances and alcohol, probably 13, 14 years old. I liked how it made me feel. I kind of fit in when I used, and I overcame a lot of my limited self-beliefs, and eventually I crossed the line, and I came to Minnesota in 1989 to start a new life for 30 days. 31 years later, I still reside in Minnesota. So yeah, it's been an interesting ride, to say the least. Quite bumpy at times, I might add. I stayed sober 12, 13, 14 years, and I had a bunch of knee surgeries done and eventually had a knee replacement. But the first prescription the doctor gave me, he gave me 180 pills. And for a guy who grew up in the 70s, doing Quaaludes and things like that, the first 2 pills I took gave me that euphoric recall, like I was back at Studio 54, the Ritz or the Limelight, having the time of my life. Immediately called the doctor. As I was going to the bathroom, I said, "Doc, you're never going to believe it." He said, "What?" I said, "I opened the pill bottle while I'm going to the bathroom. They all spilled down." It was that fast. He wrote me another prescription, and boom, I'm off to the races. And that began a run of 3.5 years of buying pills on the black market. I had nurses in hospitals that were getting the pills from me, stealing them from the hospital. Eventually, they got arrested, go to Vegas and buy more. Eventually, I ran out and turned to heroin. And that was the beginning to the end when this run started. We had started a very successful gold and silver business in Minneapolis, upwards of 75 employees. And I often said half were in recovery and the other half needed recovery. So we had quite the balance, you might say. 3.5, 4 years of using pills and then heroin, my life began to unravel. I lost connections with all the people closest to me in my life. Eventually, Dana and I got divorced. I couldn't take her enabling anymore, and the codependency was driving me crazy. So she said, I've got to leave. I can't handle this either. And we separated for a while. Then we ended up getting divorced. I bankrupted a multi-million-dollar brokerage firm that we started. And then I was indicted and sentenced to 60 months in federal prison. So yeah, that's, I guess, where the redemption started. So I realized in there that my plan wasn't working so good. The path that I thought I illuminated and highlighted in the guidance counselor's office at 17 years old was a lot more disrupting than I imagined. So we're doing this because obviously we want to give hope to people that feel hopeless. We want to give hope to people and families that are truly struggling. You know, we often say there was this huge epidemic prior to the pandemic. And coming out of this pandemic, we are seeing absolutely unbelievable stories of the disintegration of families. And Dana can talk more about that as well. But that's, you know, the quick elevator pitch, I often say. They say, give an elevator pitch. Well, growing up in New York, the elevator went from, I always felt like it was the Empire State Building I was going on. So I had a long time. So go ahead, Dana.
So I want to mention a couple things about David's story is, number one, there was gambling in there too. So this isn't just about substance abuse. This is about any kind of addiction. We see people addicted to working out, to work, to food. You know, it can be a plethora of things. There's online gambling. There's online pornography. There's social media addiction. So just want to make it clear, it's not just about opioids, heroin. Yeah, food, definitely. And so gambling was a big part of our story too, which is really what caused the financial distress and led to David's indictment and eventual 5 years sentencing in federal prison.
How did our gambling together start in Vegas?
Oh, you know what? That's another episode because story too. So, but we don't want to keep everybody too long engaged here. So, our real format for today is just to introduce you to who we are and how we've become the experts that we have. When David was in prison, like he said, he started on his path to redemption. So him coming out of prison, or I should say when he was in prison, his realization was, I've disappointed everybody in my life, and I am not going to end my story that way. And I'm going to make those very same people proud of me in the end. And we're talking about me as his ex-wife, his mother. His father, unfortunately, didn't get to see his redemption piece, but his children, who were estranged from him for a time, they have the best relationship now. So we're here to advocate for families and hope and the getting back together and repairing relationships, whether David and I had ever thought about getting married again or not. That wasn't in our picture. Some families do come together, but we've maintained a great friendship and a great parenting to our kids together and co-authored the book. And now we're here helping as many addicts and their families as we possibly can to gain some hope of repair, because addiction destroys and leaves a wake in its path. And there is a redemption and repairing to that path and those relationships. And we're here to share our experience with that. We've got kids. Kids grew up with the addiction in the home. I'm a codependent. You know, I had lost my boundaries of where David and I needed to keep our separateness, and things got out of control. And I found myself in a spot where I had to leave the relationship to protect myself and my children from the financial destruction and the addiction that David was going through. And in the end, we've made a great business path and inspiration for other people. And that's our story. And that's our episode for today. Go ahead, David.
Well, I'm hearing a lot of you.
Who?
David did this.
Oh.
And yes, it is.
I had a huge role in that relationship. And
absolutely. We all bring something to the table. And, you know, metaphorically, once I got help, they say you've got to clean your plate so your loved one can clean theirs. And therefore, you could bring some new stuff to the plate. And I think that's what happens. And we're going to talk about that in further episodes. We'd love to have you subscribe and continue to watch. If you want to subscribe, Damon's going to tell you where to subscribe, how do we keep going, and any suggestions, recommendations, thoughts, or even statements of what's going on through this really, really unprecedented time feel free to leave a message, write something. We will get back.
Something really important, David, that we didn't touch on is that since David got out of prison, he is now a nationally certified intervention professional. He's a nationally certified recovery coach. He's a national public speaker. We talked about the fact we are authors, co-authored the book together, and that's how we have become experts in the field. So not only education, but living through the addiction from the addict side, David's side, and the codependent side, the people that are affected by the addict. So we're here to give you all kinds of hope and help and information. David can be reached. If you want to get a hold of him directly, he'll always take your calls or return your emails. His email is david@theliferecoverycoach.com. That's david@theliferecoverycoach.com. His phone number, 612-968.
That's your
Oh, sorry. My phone number, 612-968-1490. David's phone number,
612-849-7509.
Again, our book, Addiction Rescue, The No BS Guide to Recovery, can be found on Amazon.com. Please subscribe by hitting the button below and look for more great content, and give us your questions. We'll answer them for you as quick as we can. Anything else, David?
That's it. Thanks, everybody. We look forward to the next episode.
Awesome. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.